everyone, thanks for watching Axis Hockey MI. As always, please check out our website, www.axishockeymi.com, where Rachel does a lot of work to make it look sick.
And she does a lot of pictures to make it look sicker.
Sick.
Super sick.
Today we're going to be... like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about Sebastian Cossa, which was a goaltender that we drafted in 2021, 15th overall. So a very high draft pick for a goalie. I can't remember the last time we had that high of a draft pick for a goalie.
I can't remember for a goalie.
So I'm not even going to try. Maybe I'll put a little note here. But we're going to talk about him today. He's very highly anticipated, I would say. And I would say that probably the goaltender that every fan in the Red Wings world knows about. Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk today about how we believe him to be exactly where he needs to be right now, in the up and down that he's going through. So, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, so Cossa got his first AHL win just recently in the last couple days from the recording of this video.
Last week or so from the recording of this video.
Add the ish to everything, and it makes all the timelines correct automatically. Yeah. Prior to that, he was assigned to Toledo to start with them against the K-Wings, I think it was. He won that game and then came and started in Grand Rapids. Now, there are four goaltenders listed on the Grand Rapids roster. We'll link back to that other video where we discussed that at the beginning of the season. But Cossa, he needs the ice time. He did a great job in that opening game, but it's the impression of leadership that he needs the play time, and that's where he's going to find it in Toledo. This is not a progress update about how great he is. And that's 2 games in.
I was going to say, that's a good point to make. We're going to do, it's way too early right now for us to do any sort of progress update on any of the prospects that we have going on right now. It's been, 5 games maybe at the time of the recording, 6 games, and we're just not comfortable doing it so fast. So this really is not a, this is how much he's improved video. Right. This is this is how we see development looking for Cossa.
Right.
So
as far as his position within the professional realm.
Yeah.
So the one thing, or one of the things that we really want to talk about regarding his development is just kind of his situational awareness, his hockey IQ, and again, that's not going off of stats or anything like that, just more of his disposition and where it's not serving time. We love Toledo, but
we do love Toledo.
Being in the ECHL, he's not seeing it as like a regression in his career or a downgrade. A lot of people, I think, give the ECHL a bad rap for that, and we've talked about that before. But this is something where he's approaching it with a good attitude and a good understanding and just addressing it in a sense that he knows at the end of the day, it's where he's going to be playing, it's where he's going to get the practice he needs to, and it's all very intentional.
Yeah, and I would say bottom line for basically how to look at him being in Toledo occasionally is, like Rachel said, he's going to play where he needs to play. So he needs to get development under his wing. So he needs to be playing in the space that's going to do that the best. So he could have been signed to another year in the WHL because he was over his contract. He could have gone to college, but that didn't make much sense because of the fact that he knew he was going to be developing with the Red Wings pretty soon.
He was too good for that.
So he's too good for the WHL. He needs to be improving, of course, and developing. And if he can't be playing in Grand Rapids, but there is ice where he can play in Toledo, that is going to be where he needs to be. And that's going to be great because they're very talented hockey players in Toledo. They're a different breed, I would say, in the ECHL in general. But they're still talented hockey players. They're grown men. He's getting really good practice with a higher caliber level than he would be if he was in the WHL. He's getting practice for when he does play in the AHL. So he's not coming on to the games in the AHL cold. He's coming on with that practice that he's had in the ECHL so far. So if you see him going down or getting traded, it really is it's really a chess game where he's going to be most useful and where it's going to benefit him the best for development. So that works into being very intentional to me because him being drafted a year ago and him already being where he is right now in the development process as far as like getting all that ice time, I think is very encouraging because I do think that they see him hopefully being one of those top starting Red Wings goalies eventually, but he does need some time and he does need some space to hone his craft, which is what he's doing right now.
And I think the brain power of the Detroit organization probably from what it looks like, has a very specific timeline that they are trying to keep him on.
Yeah.
I cannot recall the last time we had a drafted goaltender move this quickly.
Yeah, without going to Europe first, or without, back to Europe, I should say, first.
And one thing I do want to mention about Toledo that perhaps a lot of people kind of overlook is the fact that, yes, it's a professional league, but he's going to be getting some very fine-tuned teaching there. Yeah. There is not as much pressure on him there. And it's not to say he couldn't measure up to the pressures, but if you look at Grand Rapids and you look at Detroit, people are bombarding those teams with these expectations, and we want the players to meet those expectations, but sometimes it does them more harm than good. So if he's in Toledo, he's working out his kinks, and then when he comes back to Grand Rapids, and I say when because I don't think it's an if, when he comes back, he's got that confidence built up that he's kind of taken care of and almost gotten through those dark spaces a little under the radar to then be able to work it out in the professional realm. And with that, we both want to kind of reiterate, be patient. And he could grow really quickly. In fact, we're seeing that. Yeah,
we're seeing his skill translate, which is very encouraging, and seeing all the fine-tuning that he is able to do with the goaltending coaches in both Toledo and Grand Rapids, fine-tuning his craft, and the biggest thing is not regressing, not going backwards, but going instead developing and making sure that he can be the high-caliber goalie he's supposed to be. In the meantime, we've got Okanura and Bratstrom in Grand Rapids who have been in tandem, but we've also got a team in front of them that is having a hard time finding their chemistry right now.
Yes.
I think it'll come. They have all the pieces there. They just have to make that puzzle, if that makes sense, which we alluded to in the last video.
I feel like in Toledo, the guys out there, they know what they've got to do. I feel like they always start with chemistry. Toledo always produces a very good team.
I was going to say the last few seasons, Toledo has made it to the playoffs. They haven't.
The finals, too.
The finals. And they're under good coaching with Watson, and it's just very exciting to have another place that these goalies can go. So it's not just this goalie who would be bench warming in Grand Rapids because there's 3 guys on the roster, or bench warming up in Detroit because there's other guys playing.
Right.
He has another spot that he can go to play, so that's very encouraging. In the meantime, that gives Bratstrom some room to also be that goaltender that I think he can be.
He's an
and see if
goaltender.
he can push to make an NHL, because I do think that Cossa is going to have some time still in Grand Rapids, even when he is on roster full time, if that makes sense. That might be partially way through the year. You never really know. But right now we have a team in front of him, and it's not just the goalie, of course. The team in front is very important too. So all of that is going into this brand new team that we have. So be patient is very important, because there's going to be a lot of changing, a lot of moving parts, and it's not always indicative of goaltending or of how the goalies are doing.
And I think too, with the goaltending leadership, and I think people have to remember that these goaltenders, there's a very, very, very small group of them, so they get some very one-on-one coaching and very particular, right down to how far your blade needs to be away from the post.
I was going to say, it's also very competitive.
It's incredibly competitive between them. With that, at least in my mind, there needs to be some deliberate action taken with these goaltenders, and I can kind of see it, at least from our perspective and in our team right now. There's a lot of deliberate action, and what I mean by that is that with what happened with Larson, I'm not bashing him or anything like that, but it was a lot. Tons of pressure. Pulled him out of college.
Full gas.
Too much too soon. We sent him to Toledo. He does okay. We bring him back to Grand Rapids, and the poor kid just went down like the Hindenburg, and now he's back in Sweden. So we did not handle that effectively. So I think that's something that they're taking a look back and like, all right, how are we going to learn from that? Cossa is also coming in with a ton of expectations, so trying to make sure they're managing him in a way that's not going to put him in a position where he just crashes and burns because he can't take it.
Based on what we've seen of interviews so far, and no doubt what we'll see in the future of this season, he handles stress and expectation well so far.
Yeah.
So I think he's got a very professional mentality. So I am encouraged in that, just because if you don't have that, and I think maybe Larson did struggle a little bit in that area, not being able to handle expectation.
And sometimes it comes down to a personality
thing.
And
I do think Kossa's got, I think he's primed to be who he's expected to be, if that makes sense, but it's that be patient. He has to have that development time, because that's just going to make him more confident.
Yep.
And that's going to be really good for the Red Wings overall.
I'm going to be interested to see in the games to come. It's a long season, so
we got some time
to see at least at the halfway point, where are these boys at mentally? That's the biggest toll, is halfway. Physically they can do it. Mentally is where it really starts to hurt.
So I mean, a really to the point video today. Very not super focusing on his progress so far, but just focusing on where we see the development going and how that's going to be encouraging for him personally as a player. And I do think we'll end up having an interview in time with Cossa that we can put online and put some context to what we're saying from his mouth also. So
we're working hard at it.
Yeah, we're working hard to get you some interviews that you can see them just talk, just them, so it's not just, speculation or us just talking from what we see.
It's not these I played a full 60-minute, 200
Yeah, like the guys in front of me did great, or they really blocked shots and all that stuff.
Yeah, they really came up big,
Yeah, so
cool.
We're looking forward to getting you guys that stuff this season also. So make sure you comment below what you've thought about Cossa so far, if you saw his start in Grand Rapids or if you've been looking up his Toledo excursions. You can find those on the ECHL website as well. I believe they have game-by-game passes that you can get just like on the AHL. So make sure you're watching that. Don't be discouraged. He's just developing. So, everybody can settle down.
He's not even 20 yet.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments what you think, if you've seen him so far or who you're most excited for this season, if you've watched any games. Just let us know in the comments. We love to read those. And we will like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you check out our website, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.